Hello and welcome to Safety Tavern's video on confined spaces. Please keep in mind this is OSHA 1926 focus and this is not a training class for entering into a permit required confined space. If that is what you clicked on this video for, that's not the training you're going to get here. This is a confined space as OSHA defines it. This is a confined space class. Let's get right into it.
There was something wrong and I knew it. And I didn't know what it was. It's dark, it's wet, it's eerie. You know, you climb down this ladder and I get to the bottom and now I'm consumed in death. And I yelled for help and I couldn't. I could not make it on my own. And that's a hard thing for a human to admit, that I could not save my father. I couldn't do it. We worked that morning just setting up the tools, getting the welder out, and kind of figuring out what we wanted to do that day. And that took almost until the sun came up, which was right around, 7:30 probably. We had a coffee break. It was actually a pretty good day. My father, it was actually in a really good mood that day.
I'm just going to open up some of these hatches and see where we're at.
All right, well, I'll check in with the boys.
Hey, do me a favor, will you? Ask Marco if those parts are ready and then bring them on down here.
Okay. Hey, you want any more coffee?
No, I'm okay, son, thanks. You go ahead, I won't be long.
And my father grabbed his little flashlight and his notebook and pen and decided to go down and assess what needed to be done and finally get some work on the go. You know, it seemed to be only a few minutes, but probably more like a half an hour. And I had noticed that Dad hadn't came out of this compartment, of this barge yet. I don't know if it was just a normal reaction or something inside me kind of felt wrong, to be honest with you.
Have you seen my dad? No?
I didn't feel right. And I stuck my head down inside this hole.
Dad?
No answer. That's kind of strange. I got up and I looked around and something just didn't feel right. And I didn't say anything to the guys, I just leaped down the hole. The light is ending when I go into this hole, right? Literally, the light is ending and darkness is arising in more ways than one.
Dad?
And I looked down and I could see a milky light, what looked like his flashlight under the water. And as I knelt down, I reached across, I picked up the flashlight. I could tell the life was taken from him. I don't know how. I'd never seen a dead person before in my life, but I might not have admitted it right then. But thinking about it, I knew he was gone. His eyes rolled right around and his skin looked clammy. It didn't look like a real person.
Fuck. Okay. All right, Dad, I'm gonna get help. You stay here. Please.
When I fell unconscious on my father, I was still alive. And here's a picture of father and son literally lying on top of each other dying with every breath they take. And the rest of the world is going on, doesn't even know what's happening.
Hey, you guys down there? Hey, Jimmy, did you see Cody?
No, where was he?
I saw him go down here. Cody! Cody!
Where's the old man?
Hey, Cody? Oh, shit. Hey! Help, you guys!
Just wanted to help. These men really respected my father in a way that I had no idea until the funeral. But they just wanted to help him.
Hey, Dana, what's happening? Dana!
I'm gonna check it out.
You can't prepare for something that you don't know is there. Do you know what I mean? And that's what happened to us. We did not realize the risks. And yeah, you can sit down and we can make, well, we should have had this, or let's blame this, you know, but it comes down to yourself. You're the only one that can keep you alive.
Man, that's not a good idea. We got 3 guys down there. Now you want to make it 4?
What else can we do?
You go down there, you just don't know. I don't like it.
I'm going down.
Look, you're making a mistake. I'm begging you, man. Don't do this.
It's gonna be fine. I'll call when I find him.
You can't save someone if you can't save yourself. Do you know what I mean? There's no point being a hero. You have to think on your feet when you're down to the crunch.
Okay, Marco! Can you hear me? Marco! I told you. Hey! Help! Help! Anybody! Help!
If I'd have went down there 25 minutes earlier, I could have saved his life probably. It's not my fault, I didn't know. But that's a fact, right? Time is precious when you're running out of air.
Help! Anybody! Help!
This next section of the video I lifted from WorkSafe BC's Confined Spaces, Deadly Spaces video, copyright 1994. They are still very much an active company. Feel free to go look at them, but I just took a couple of snippets from some of their video.
Confined spaces can come in a variety of shapes and sizes, but the hazards are all similar.
Normally, outside air contains about 21% oxygen and is necessary to sustain life. Some confined spaces contain 21% oxygen, others do not. Oxygen is invisible and may be used up over time in the confined spaces by things as simple as rust or bacterial growth in slime. Other gases may enter the confined space and displace the oxygen. Operations such as cutting with oxyacetylene or heating will consume oxygen. If the oxygen in the confined space is reduced to 12 to 16%, workers will experience increased pulse and respiration, impaired judgment, and loss of coordination. If the oxygen level is at 6 to 10% or less when the workers enter a confined space, they will experience nausea, vomiting, or loss of consciousness followed by death. Oxygen deficiency is particularly dangerous because it can cause drowsiness or euphoria, which prevents the worker from realizing the danger in time to escape.
Carbon monoxide and hydrogen sulfide are two of the most deadly gases found in confined spaces.
Hydrogen sulfide and other toxic gases may enter the confined space from a variety of sources, including sewers, rotting material, chemical leaks or spills, or as a byproduct of work processes. Carbon monoxide is odorless and colorless. It's produced from the incomplete burning of any carbon-containing material like gasoline, wood, natural gas, and propane, and can be lethal at doses of 1% or less. Hydrogen sulfide is invisible and has an odor like rotten eggs, but at higher concentrations, it may knock out your sense of smell. Death can result in seconds from hydrogen sulfide exposure.
There are so many possible sources for toxic gases that it's impossible to predict the danger without testing. Many gases can permeate confined spaces. Some, like methane, are extremely flammable. A single spark could ignite the air around you into an explosive fireball. There are other contaminants which can exist in confined spaces. They're sometimes the remaining byproduct of an old confined space operation like welding or painting, or they may just seep into the space. But what they all have in common is that they can accumulate to dangerous levels in confined spaces. What can be done to prevent these accidents and injuries? Well, it's really quite simple. You develop a standard set of procedures which you follow, and you provide education and training for the workers. Here are the basic principles which you must follow before working in any confined space. The procedures for your particular workplace will be more detailed.
Before entering any confined space, ensure that the surrounding area is free from hazards. Test the atmosphere before you enter a confined space. It's essential that you take samples at various levels throughout the space. The first test to conduct is for oxygen. Oxygen deficiency can occur at any level. Some gases, such as hydrogen sulfide, are heavier than air and could settle on the bottom of the confined space. Methane will displace oxygen. It is an explosive gas and is lighter than air. Carbon monoxide has about the same weight as air, so it can be evenly distributed throughout the space. It's an asphyxiant, which prevents your body from absorbing oxygen, causing you to suffocate. Ensure that the tests are taken by a trained worker, and the results are recorded in a logbook or on an entry permit. If gas levels are unsafe, you must first ventilate and then retest before entering. If the gas levels are within safe limits, you must still ventilate the space before entering. Never use the ventilator like a vacuum to draw air out of the confined space. It may draw in toxic gases from other parts of the space. The fan must blow fresh air into the space. Ventilation will provide a continuous supply of fresh air and prevent the buildup of contaminants. While workers are in the confined space, Ensure that there is a worker on watch who can summon a rescue crew in case of emergency, or is capable and equipped to conduct a rescue. Depending on the hazardous nature of the work or type of confined space, more sophisticated equipment and procedures may need to be used. For instance, workers may need to use a harness or lifeline attached to a tripod and wear a continuous gas monitor. There are even situations where a worker may have to wear a self-contained breathing apparatus.
Again, this is WorkSafe BC's video. Excellent video. Thank you kindly. There are three main types of spaces, if you will, in regards to OSHA 1926 as well as construction. Now, the first thing I need you to do is take your brain and just chunk it out the window. I need you to take every single thing that you have ever learned in school and throw it out the window. We are going to relearn these terms in regards to construction. Space is defined as a continuous area or expanse which is free, available, or unoccupied. So it's just space. The place that I'm walking, it's just space. This is space, yes it is, but so is this. This is just space. This is space. This is also space. Space is, it's just space. It's area. Confined space. Now, keep in mind, it has to meet all three. 1 and 2 and 3. It has to meet all three of these to be classified as a confined space according to OSHA 1926. 1 is large enough and so configured that an employee can bodily enter and perform assigned work. It means you have to be able to get in, like your body, not just your hand, not just your elbow, not your foot, but your whole body has to be able to get in. 2 has limited or restricted means for entry or exit. Examples of this is tanks, silos, storage bins, hoppers, vaults, pits, so on and so forth. Limited means of access and egress. A good rule of thumb that I've told my employees in the past is, can I get a gurney in there? Can I actually get in there and get the person out if they have a heart attack, right? This is a good rule of thumb, but the black and white lettering of it is has limited or restricted means for entry or exit. The last one, remember, the word is and, is not designed for continuous employee occupancy. Is it designed for you? If it's not designed for people to be in there, and it has limited means of access and egress, and it's big enough for you to get in there, then according to OSHA on a construction site, it is a confined space. Once we've rendered that something is space, then we can qualify it as being a confined space if it meets all three of those requirements. And then we look at, is it a permit required confined space? We cannot just go from space to permit required. We have to go from space to confined space, and then we look at, is it a permit required confined space? Now, permit required confined space, it only has to have one of these things. Okay, so it's already gone through the qualifications and met the qualifications to be rendered a confined space, and now it either 1, contains or has a potential to contain a hazardous atmosphere, right? So bad air. 2, contains a material that has a potential for engulfing an entrant, right? This would be like your corn silo kind of thing. 3, has an internal configuration such that an entrant could be trapped or asphyxiated by inwardly converging walls or by a floor which slopes downward and tapers to a small cross section. 4, contains any other recognized serious safety or health hazard. If it has any one of these and it's already been qualified as a confined space, it is a permit required confined space. Please keep in mind, you cannot just go from space to permit required. It has to go from space to confined space over to permit required. Y'all want to play a game? Let's play a game. What we're going to do is we're going to show some areas, and you're going to tell me if you think it is a space, confined space, or permit required. I'm going to give you about 5 seconds up here in this corner, and then I'll give you my reasoning, what the Safety Tavern believes it to be. So if there's any questions with this, talk to the competent person for your company. That being said, let's get right at it. This is definitely just space. Let's run through the list again. Remember, confined space. Do I fit? Yeah, he definitely fits. He can clearly get under that table. Is it limited means of access and egress? I don't think so. See, can I get a gurney under there? Yeah, theoretically I could if it was scrunched down, but more importantly, I can reach over and just pull him out. Like, it's not really limited. So I would say no. And then, not designed for me? No, that's not true. That's concrete. That's absolutely designed for people to walk on. So it's a yes, and then a no and a no. This is definitely just space. And next we have the vault. And this is absolutely just space. And I know everybody, your mind is thinking, well, but I could get locked in there. And I agree. There's definitely a lockout, tagout hazard here. But let's walk through the list. Do I fit? Yeah, definitely. Is it limited means of access and egress? You could theoretically say that this is hard to get a gurney in there. So I would give you a yes or no on that one. But is it designed for me? Look at this square right here. Doesn't this look like the exact same square over there? Look at these boxes. These things are meant for keys to be turned in there. That means the person who designed this building designed this floor for you to walk on. It was designed for people to walk on and to do stuff right there. You could go in there and theoretically have lunch right there. It was designed to be on, for people to be there. It was designed this way. It's not a confined space. This is just space. Yep, I know this sounds kind of silly, but again, let's run through the list. Do I fit? Yes. Limited exit? No. I can pull the person right out, no problem. Not designed for me? That's not true. Porta potties are literally designed for employees to be sitting right there for however long you want to sit there. Now, here's the question. What if I add this? And a lot of us are going to be like, oh, well, wait a minute. Oh, no, that's a different ballgame. I agree. There's a hazard in there. It's a nasty hazard. But do I fit? Yes. Limited exit? No. Thus, it is not a confined space. If it is not a confined space, it cannot be a permit required confined space. That makes this just space. All right, here we go. This is a bear cage, right? Do I fit? Yes. Is it limited means of access and egress? I don't think so. Now, granted, that's a little bit of a skinnier door than I would like, but I can get in there nice and easy, no big deal. Is it designed for humans? Yeah, it's designed for the zookeepers to go in there and get all that crap and all that clutter out. Now, this is a garbage zoo, but still, it's designed for people to be able to go in there. This is the earth. This is dirt. Dirt is designed, whether you believe in evolution or you believe in God, dirt was designed for humans to walk on. It's good to go. This is a space. It has a massive hazard in there, but it is just space. Now, I kind of did a dirty deed and I kind of tricked y'all a little bit. This is just space, and I'm going to explain why. 1926-1201, exceptions. This standard, meaning the confined space standard, does not apply to excavations, underground construction, caissons, cofferdams, compressed air, or diving operations. So if it is an excavation, it is not a permit required, nor is it a confined space. It cannot be. It cannot be rendered those. It falls under excavation standards or underground construction or whatever. So if it is an excavation, it is just space. Here we go again. Do I fit? Yes. Limited access and egress? No, because there's a jail cell door somewhere. I'm sure it's probably over there. Is it designed for humans? Absolutely, it's a jail cell. It's literally designed to hold human beings. So yes, no, no. This is just space. It's pretty simple. It says it right there. Permit required confined space. Do not enter. Thus, it is a permit required confined space. Now, this one's a little bit more interesting than at first you might think. First, this guy's an idiot. You shouldn't be in there. Secondly, okay, do I fit? Yep, he fits. He can clearly get in there. Is it limited means of access and egress? And theoretically, you'd say no, but how hard would it be if that dude passed out? How hard would it be to get him out of there? And that's where I could argue yes or no on this. Is it designed for human beings? Absolutely not. That is not designed for you. So that's going to be a yes, maybe, and a yes. And if this is the case, depending on what your competent person for your company says, it may be escalated up to a permit required. As far as any of the permit required stuff goes, no, it would not qualify as any of those, so it would be back down to a confined space. But depending on how y'all see it and how the ruling bodies for your company as well as for your general contractors say, this could possibly move up into being an actual confined space. All right, here we go. Do I fit? Yep, those people are definitely in there. Limited means of access and egress. I see a door right here, so I'm thinking no, but then you have all these hazards around here, and okay, so maybe. Not designed for me, and that's not true. You see those handrails? That's literally designed for human beings to go in there and to occupy that area for a long time. That is just a space. So it's yes, yes, no. It's an idiot thing to do, and if you ever think about doing this, you're crazy, but it's just space. Here we go. Do I fit? No. You have to be able to bodily get in there. This person cannot bodily even get under there. So right off the bat, it's no, and it's back to space. Here we go again. We check the sign, and it is a confined space. So it is a confined space. Just because it says enter by permit only, it does not make it a permit required confined space. And I know that sounds silly, but listen to me. Just because the GC wants a permit for you to get in there, that's okay. That doesn't make it the OSHA term of permit required confined space. Does everyone understand this? It tells you it's a confined space, it is a confined space. Unless for whatever reason, y'all escalated up to a permit required confined space because once you got in there, you saw something that raised it up that would fill one of these criteria. Otherwise, it is just a confined space. This is just space. It's an excavation. This is a hallway. It's definitely designed for human beings, thus it is just space. Do I fit? Yes, you can definitely go down there. Limited means of access and egress? Yeah, that's a ladder. That's going to be really hard to get someone out of there. I would say yes. Is that designed for human beings? I don't know what's down there, but theoretically, based off the bulkhead design, that's not designed for humans to continuously be down there, for humans to go down there and chill out and have lunch. Thus, I would say yes, yes, and yes. Thus, it is a confined space. But here's the thing. I can see something in this picture that would tell me that it's probably a permit required confined space. Can anybody else see it? Nope, it's not the electricity. It's right here. What's running through those lines? And this is where other trades doing stuff can take a confined space and move it up into permit required. Is there a possibility for bad air in there? Yes, there is definitely a possibility. It is maybe a permit required confined space. Now, as a competent for my company, this is one of the ways that we've mitigated this, right? Because this is not permit required confined space training. This is confined space awareness training. And we want to reduce it back down to where that risk of bad air is not even a possibility. So, mitigation tactics 101, here we go. First, we're going to talk to the welders or whoever's creating this bad air environment, and we're going to ask them, hey, are y'all going to be working tomorrow? Can we get in before you do? Right? Eliminate the threat. Next, if there is an issue with us being able to get somebody out that's maybe broke their arm, maybe we'll have an assisted retrieval device nearby. Not a rescue device, an assisted retrieval device, meaning we're helping them get out. The next thing is air. Okay, so could it be even just hot air that's down there? Okay, so let's get some forced air ventilation in there. That way we can ensure there's good air pouring down on top of our employees. Also, testing. We're going to make sure that all that bad air that was kicked in here yesterday by the welder doing some welding or cutting, we're going to make sure that all that bad air is not here and that the oxygen levels stay exactly where they're supposed to be. Thus, we're not only going to test, but we're also going to make sure that we have an air monitor down there with our employees. And of course, with the assisted retrieval, as well as the measuring of the air that needs to be logged down, and to ensure that everyone that goes down there for our company has confined space training, we will need an attendant. So all of this added together, all of these things will allow us as a competent person for our companies to render it down to a confined space at all times. As the competent person for my company on this job site, I can render this a confined space if all of these hazards that may be an issue, I have addressed and adequately eliminated them. Talk to the competent person for your company. If you are unsure about this, stay out. Talk to the competent person for your company. Again, it doesn't matter what the hazard is. If it's not a confined space, it can't be a permit required. Do you fit? Yes. Limited access and egress? Well, they're jail cells, so I would say no. Designed for human beings? Every bit of that space is designed for humans, thus it is just space. Do I fit under there? Yes. Limited access and egress? No. Thus it is just space. Do I fit? Oh, never mind. It's excavations. It's space. Do I fit? Yes. Limited access and egress? Absolutely. If I get clogged in here, how are we going to get me out going this way? Now, I can't see what's behind me, so I'm going off of just this picture. Is that designed for human beings? Absolutely not. Thus, it is a confined space, but here's the thing. Look at what these guys are wearing. Does this mean there might be some bad air in here? So this could move it based completely off of what these guys are doing from a confined space to a permit required because they think that there's something hazardous in here. Again, just look at the posting. Confined space. The GC wants you to have a permit. That's fine. Confined space. That requires a permit. In construction, here's the biggest fight that I've ever had, and I've had it with multiple GCs and multiple job sites. Here we go. And if you think we never run into this, this is a GC trailer. They have them on every job site. This is a common fight. Do I fit? Yes. Is it limited means of access and egress? Yes. Is it designed for human beings? And now we have the fight. It's the earth. The dirt was designed for human beings, right? But if that person in the middle of that trailer, if they are right here, if they pass out, A, can you even see them? B, can you get to them? This is where, as a competent person, you are going to have to make a decision on whether you consider this to be a confined space or just space. And I've seen GCs rule it both ways. Typically, if you're in this position and you're going to render it as space, I would at least go ahead and step up and go ahead and post a person there to watch the person that's underneath. I'm going to warn everybody taking this training right now. Do not just go into here without someone watching your back. Do not. I would recommend you test the air also. And then the number one hazard down here is actually creepy crawlers. So I would have the exterminators go in there first, and then I would pop open all of the skirting all the way around the backs, all around the trailer, make sure there's good ventilation going in and out, and then I would make sure that I definitely have somebody watching my back when I go in there. But if your GC, your company, your supervisor, if whoever renders this to be a confined space, I could actually understand why, because how am I going to get you out of there? I could absolutely, just basic logic, I can understand them doing it. If you have any questions with this, it needs to be directed to the competent person for your company. These are just the Safety Tavern's assessments of it. Last minute reminder, again, oxygen must be between 19.5% to 23.5%. The other three inspectables have to be at 0. That's H2S, CO, and lower explosive limits. I hope this video finds you well, and I'll see you in the next one.